Going live. Still going. You're live. Woo! We did it.
We did it.
Hello.
Good stream, everyone.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Goodbye. Go to war now. Yeah, like when I put this schedule up, someone immediately was like, "So I'll go to war after today's Forge." I was like, "Time allows it. I hope so."
Yeah. Well, we'll try not to go for 12 hours, so you have time for some God of War.
That would catapult you into the top of length immediately. I think the longest was 5.5.
I've always wanted to be at the top of length.
Yeah. I am the number one in length. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, we wouldn't want to deprive you and the wonderful people in chat of their God of War. So we'll make sure you have time for that.
It's all good. It's all good. It's not the end of the world if I don't play today, to be honest.
But doesn't Ragnarok mean the end of the world?
Damn it, you're right. Got me
Did
again.
you ever think about that?
Got me again. Damn it. Keep it under an hour, gentlemen. Oh, boy. Sup, German? Hello, Pooh. Hello, Snakes. Hello. I wonder how many people are even going to watch today, because Mauler is now streaming God of War, being very inconsiderate again to me.
Yeah, what a douche. What a douche. Thinks the whole world revolves around him.
Yeah. Oh, look at me. I can play. Nah. I actually thought he would do like a Super Chat catch-up recording today. That was one of the main reasons I put that here. But I didn't think about God of War when I planned this, so tough titties.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, surely people will be much more interested in a German movie they've never heard of. So I think we'll be all right.
Exactly. I certainly never heard of it. Nah, it's all good. It's all good. It's gonna be fun because I'm interested to talk about it because it was quite the interesting movie to watch. Quite interesting.
Is capital O formerly Southpaw? No, two different people.
That's two different people.
Yes.
It's okay, guys. I'm interested. See, Kevin Mock got our bags.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
I always knew I could count on Kevin.
I would never watch a long man over the German man. Yeah, Pooh was always around. That's true. I appreciate you. Appreciate that. Now give me money because I accepted you into this cult.
Yes.
This is now basically Scientology.
Oh boy. I'm glad to be in on the ground floor of this, you know.
Yeah, I gotta start all the way at the bottom, and then you have to pay me more every time. I have no idea how Scientology works, but it costs a lot of money as far as I know.
And yeah, if you want to understand the super awesome secrets to the universe, you have to give a lot of money first.
Yeah. The actress of from she dropped off Scientology. I completely forgot her name now, and the show she was on, even though I watched it back in the day. Oh,
I don't know.
It's the show that the Mall House Cop guy was in.
Yeah, Paul Blart. What's that called?
Is it King of Queens?
King of Queens, that's the one.
I
kept wanting to say King of the Hill, but it's not.
No, that's an animated show, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so his wife was in Scientology, then quit, I think, right? She made a documentary about it or something like that?
Yeah, she was like with Joe Rogan and everything. I watched it back in the day. I remember it being very interesting, but I basically forgot all about it. But it's basically sounds like a lot of crazy people in those kind of ranks.
It does, doesn't it?
It really doesn't sound very, very nice.
I think what's especially weird about it is that a lot of the I guess the average kind of lay person in Scientology doesn't really know the full set of beliefs because they haven't been revealed to them. So they're just kind of hoping that it'll make sense later.
Hey, what do we believe in? I don't know. Give me $5. Maybe I'll tell you.
Until then, you should still hang out.
Yeah. Almost like YouTube memberships. Metal? Oh, yeah. Good shout. Memberships are activated. Maybe you want to join.
Yeah, if you join, if you become a member of the channel, we'll tell you the secrets of media.
Yeah, the secrets are all here. You just need to pick them up and give me money or something. Yeah, that's how it works. Lots of indoctrination with kids born into it. I mean, yeah, that's how I guess it's gonna work. But I guess at some point they're gonna get taken by a spaceship or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something around those lines.
Well, if you keep the channel going long enough, maybe there will be people born into this cult of yours.
Oh, very nice.
When the people in chat have children, they can raise them in your cult as well.
Yeah, trust them, I've been enlightened. Don't talk shit to Z do. The only person in my life I need is Dr. Pepper. I choose that one because I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper right now.
I could guess that.
Yeah.
I put that together. Context clues.
Let's see. Oh my god, there's already criticism of the movie coming in. Oh my god, I'm not even ready to talk about it. We're still bantering. Calm down. But no, it's it's all good. It's all good. No, I lost my train of thought because I was bantering too hard.
You were talking about how much you love Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper is great. 01. Love it. That's all. Sorry, I just like it a lot.
What are the 23 flavors? Can you name them? Are you a real Dr. Pepper fan? Name all 23 flavors.
20. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
There was some sort of like marketing campaign for Dr. Pepper where it's like, oh, there's 23 flavors. Like that's an oddly specific number, but I guess it's part of their secret recipe or whatever.
Okay.
And shows that you're not a real fan is what I'm getting at.
I mean, I only need one of the flavors, and that one is delicious, and that's the one I'm tasting every time I drink it. That's all I need.
He's a fake fan.
I think I'm a real fan because I just blindly accept the deliciousness. Like one of the flavors could be poop, and I was like, that's fine. That was delicious. This is some delicious poop.
That's true. If you blindly accept it without knowing anything about it, maybe you are the real fan.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely destroyed by facts and logic.
Oh no.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Where did my everything go? I'm very well prepared. Today's sport sponsored by Dr. Pepe. My bet brutal, I criticize it later. Yeah, it's all good. Mel, have you seen Look Who's Back? It's about a pre-genocide Austrian painter who gets stuck in present day and becomes a racist comedian. Wait. Oh, I heard about that movie, but I never watched it. No.
Look Who's Back?
I think it's basically Hitler being reborn into a modern day world, as far as I know.
Oh. Okay.
And then he becomes like a comedian and is like confronted with social media and stuff. I think in Germany, if you translate it directly, it's just called He's Back or something.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, I never checked it out,
fun.
but it sounds like good. Well, I have some phlegms in my throat right now that make me cough.
Yeah, that looks fun. I'm always down to...
Stop it, buddy. I already had to move this once because of the coof. I'm not being stopped by another one. Anyway. Hey, normally when someone comes on first, I'm just gonna floomp around and ask about stories and stuff, what's been going on, because I actually have no idea how you ended up on EFAP one day. I have absolutely no clue.
Well, that's the secret. See, if you give me a lot of money, I can tell you.
Hey, that's my... Damn it!
I made a meme, and they watched it on the meme fap, and that's sort of how it started. I made that... did you ever see that NPC reviews video?
I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah, I made that, and they thought it was funny. And then...
I mean, I probably was on that meme fap, so...
Yeah, probably. And then the first time I actually talked to you guys at all was on your stream. You were streaming, I want to say it was God of War, actually. And I came on to argue about whether The Haunting of Hill House is any good.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yep.
I forgot about that. Yeah, it was just a random Mauler thing. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to invite someone to talk about something. It's like, okay, I'm just going to play a game.
Hope you don't mind. We invade your stream for an argument.
Yeah. Remember
so that went well, and then they invited me on for one of the other ones. I'm not really sure which one.
No, okay. Damn, I didn't know that was the first time. That's interesting. Huh.
Yeah, it's the metal lore. It goes deep.
That I don't even know about. I wonder if that's in the archives already. I don't even know if that was before I started up the archive channel.
Don't know.
I wonder. I have no clue. Right. Yeah, I do kind of remember that. Hill House. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Damn. Okay. See, I'm oblivious to my own lore. There you go.
That's all right. I'm the metal lore expert here, so don't
Yeah,
worry.
absolutely. That's funny.
Especially as it relates to me personally.
Yeah. I randomly saw like an EFAB fan wiki, and I saw my entry, and it's actually a pretty funny read. Like one of the things
Oh
is
yeah.
metal is mainly known for being German. It's like okay, it gave me a good chuckle.
Is it efapodcast.fandom?
I think that's the one. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. I'll have to look myself up later.
It's pretty funny. Metalcommander is spelled with a space in between as well. I think it's like all written in like in my character basically that has been evolved in EFAB lore. It's pretty funny. It's not very long, but you know, it's fun stuff.
Sorry, I'm reading my own now, and it says Cat is a two-headed humanoid whose heads resemble that of Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, both with glowing eyes.
Yeah.
On his channel, he is sometimes able to split into two beings, with each one having its own consciousness. It's all true. You know, they really got it down. Good for them. I'm impressed.
Hopefully learn never to defy EFAB. Those guys are basically infallible gods. It's true.
Oh yeah, ever since I've you know, because I'm just scared of rags.
Everyone is scared of rags.
Yeah, I don't really share what I really think about them.
Yeah, I always have to, hey Rex, can you go first so I don't have to defy you or anger you? I don't want to die. That was funny. What's that? Yeah, like someone saying we're all just scared of rags. That was great.
Well, it's true. They nailed it.
That's some great opinions out there about EFAB. Some of them are really funny. Oh god. Oh, good times, good times. Yeah, obviously I snatch you from EFAB because that's what I do. I just use my connections from there and just use them for myself.
Aha!
Networking, I think is what they called.
Yeah, you made it sound much more sinister than that. But
Yeah.
I think it is called networking. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Well, it was interesting how this stream actually came to be because we were in the watch party for a particular horror franchise that will come out next Halloween.
Yeah.
We won't spoil which one it is.
No,
and we were just waiting. And I asked you if you had seen or what your favorite German movies are. And you said, oh, I don't really watch German movies, which is not the response I was expecting. So I was like,
I couldn't tell you which ones I've even watched. So like most of the movies that I see that come out here is like, that looks really bad or not interesting at all. So I'm just not going to do it. But yeah, go ahead.
So the only, real quick, the only German movies that I ever really hear about are kind of in the indie or artsier range. Are there like mainstream German movies, like the equivalent of like, obviously there's not like big budget, you know, Marvel movies or anything like that, but are there kind of like more mainstream German movies, you know, that don't make it across?
It's a good question. I think the only ones I know about that were kind of big were like weird comedy thingies that I will probably not find funny at all. I think it's like called Fuck You Goethe or something. I think that was pretty popular. I think they made 3 of those or something. It's like a comedy thing. That's the only one I can think of that I actually saw trailers in the cinema of back in the day. I wonder, did that have an international release? Probably not. Oh, that's 3.
Apparently the English language title is Suck Me Shakespeare.
Okay, that's actually pretty good.
Which is interesting. No, I haven't heard of that one. No, so anyway, yeah, you said you didn't really watch many German movies.
Yeah.
And I've seen a handful. I was actually in my undergrad. There weren't any filmmaking courses. You know, there were only kind of like film studies courses where you just watch stuff and talk about them. So I just kind of took all the ones I could, right? And one of them was a German film class that was primarily taught to German students in German.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, hey, I don't speak German, but can I just be in the class and write my papers in English? So I can watch these movies and, you know, write papers on them, whatever. And the teacher was like, sure, that's fine. And
Teacher
so,
was like, "What? I don't speak your language."
and so, yeah, I watched a number of German movies. I
Hmm.
mean, some of the most famous ones would be like Run Lola Run and
I recall
is it
that
Wings of
name.
Desire? Is that the name? Wings of Desire, and like Ali, Fear Eats the Soul, and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Anyway, they're pretty good. I also did the same thing for like a French film class that our school had, and I have to say I enjoyed the German movies more than the French movies.
Oh.
Uh, yeah, there's something kind of fun about how all the German movies we watched are like bleak tragedies.
Yeah.
That seems very on brand for them, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There was nothing really particular that caught my attention. Uh,
Oh yeah. So I recommended this movie, which is called Victoria. Um,
yes.
it's a German movie, though most of it is actually in English, which we'll talk about. But it's kind of an interesting movie linguistically. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a crime thriller that's shot in one long 2 hour and 13 minute uninterrupted take.
Yeah. I
It's,
wonder how many times did they. Is it like proper one take, or is it like some hidden things? Because I actually didn't
no,
really take care,
it's
didn't really pay attention to those kind of specifics.
Yeah, it's actually one long take. There's no hidden cuts.
That's
It's not
insane.
like it's not like Birdman or 1917. It's like actually one long take with
Yeah.
no fakery whatsoever.
I remember
It's
1917
pretty
already.
wild.
1917 was already pretty impressive because there was only like a handful of transitions in there.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I mean it's still really
yeah,
impressive
yeah,
to make a movie to fake a movie like it's one long take because it's like you said like maybe I don't know 10 minute sequences or I don't know
yeah,
whatever it is. It's. But no, it's all one long take, which is
yeah.
fucking crazy.
I wonder how many times they had to start over.
Oh, I can tell you that actually.
Oh, shoot.
Do you want to get into that now, or do you want to talk about like the premise first? Because I know a little bit about the behind the
Yeah,
scenes making of that's really interesting.
yeah. So I actually kind of thought about how I want to tackle this one because the whole plot is actually pretty simple and
Mm-hmm.
probably explained pretty quickly. Uh,
Yeah.
so basically the plot is as follows. We start with a girl, a lady, just have it just in a bar
She's at
or a club
a
or
nightclub.
something.
Yeah.
Just having a good time, just getting drunk, doing some dancing as you do,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just kind of goes around. Seemingly looking like she just wants some company, just
Yeah.
maybe wants some fucking, the good stuff. And someone's like, oh well, I guess I'm not hitting it today. It's getting kind of late, and as we get to know in a little bit as well, she has to open up a cafe where she works. So she's about to go, and she meets this group of people on the way out, consisting of, now I have to remind all these names because most of them are not speaking that much. We got Boxer, but I
Mm-hmm.
have them written down. Thanks, past me. Boxer, Blinker, Sonne, Foos, and Boxer. Why did I write that down too? That's supposed to be
There's only four of them. You got it.
two,
There's
three.
there's
Oh yeah,
there's
she's the
only
fifth
one
one.
the one
Yeah,
box. Yeah, and her name is Victoria. They're
yeah,
all
she's Victoria.
German. They're native Berliners, and
Yeah.
she's a Spanish woman here. I guess on a kind of an extended stay, working in a coffee
Mm,
shop in the cafe, and kind of on vacation, so to speak, on
yeah,
holiday.
pretty much. And yeah, just night out on the way home. And I don't know these four just look like they're on a night out, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Being a bit rascalish, if that's even a word, but now it is. Just kind of doing some silly stuff because they're drunk and just having some fun. Even trying to get someone's car, which is not really legal, but they're drunk. They're just doing some silly shit that you do when you're drunk on a night out. Because it's also Foos's birthday, so they're just having a good time going around. And yeah, they just kind of get to talk, and they invite her to go around. They go to a little shop. They get some beers, and yeah, the first like 45 minutes is basically just them having a night out. We get a little bit of character stuff here and there, which we will go into later on when I have this all summarized. And it's basically all pretty normal up until like the 1 hour mark. I think that's where like 50-ish minutes, 1 hour.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. Yeah,
That's where all of a sudden that's where Victoria and Sonne, they're just hanging out in the cafe. She has to open up, and they just get to flirting and stuff. And they'll probably want to hit it off at some point. But then Sonne gets a phone call from Boxer, and you just kind of get to hear in the background. It's like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, what right now? Blah 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 blah. And they're gonna come. The other ones come from their place to pick him up, and they're about to leave. And
there's some tension. There's some urgency there.
Exactly. It's like something is going on. So we don't really know what's going on, but he basically tells her, it's like, hey, hopefully we're gonna see you tomorrow or something. Gonna hang out or whatever. But we gotta go now. We have some work to do, he says.
And this is like 4 a.m, maybe?
Yeah, it's like 4, probably already 5 by now.
Yeah.
But it's definitely 4 a.m. when they go to the roof where they hang out. Which also had the first scene where we got some really cool character stuff, I feel like.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get into that. I really like some of the character work.
Yeah, movie. Me too. I was very impressed, actually, with the acting as well, overall.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they leave, and she's like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna start opening up the shop here, the coffee shop. Just gonna start turning some chairs around, put them on the tables and stuff. And all of a sudden they come back, and he's like, oh shit, what's going on now? And we see that Foos, he is really fucking drunk, and he just starts puking everywhere. And it's like, oh, look at him, he's really drunk. And it's like, yeah, we all had that one friend who just got way too drunk, and they were like, hey, do you got some water? And at this point, she's still like, oh yeah, it's night out, whatever.
You crazy guys.
Yeah, you silly. You seem nice, but you're crazy. But yeah, there's still, it's like this tension is still going on. Boxer's like, fuck, he's just cussing everyone out.
Boxer's very stressed.
He's very, very stressed out. And it turns out after some time, Boxer's like, I don't even care, just ask her, basically. And everyone is like, I don't even know what's going on. So basically, they ask her if she can drive them to the place they need to go, because they need to be 4 people.
Yes. She's not really, they don't really tell her exactly why. They just said, hey, it needs to be 4 of us. This is really important. It's something we need to do for Boxer. It needs to be 4 of us. I don't know why, but all that's going to happen is you're going to drive us there, and you just drive us around. We'll bring you right back. I promise. It'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
And she wants to help out and be supportive. She's kind of, we'll talk about her character more as we go, but she's kind of desperate for like some connection and some excitement in her life. So she kind of joins in, like, hey, I'll help you guys out. You guys seem nice. She's lonely. She's kind of sheltered, I guess. And so she's looking to kind of live it up a bit. And so she's like, yeah, this sounds like an interesting adventure. I'll help you guys out. And so she goes with them, and they drive to an underground parking garage.
Yeah. And nothing too crazy right now, until that parking garage opens and they're greeted by someone with a fucking gun in his hand.
Yes.
And even she's like, he has a gun. It's like, just drive. And it's like, oh, okay. That's kind of awkward. I don't know what's going on. But we also get to know that Boxer has been in jail, and he owes someone a favor, so they have to just go there right now and check out what's going on.
Yes. They don't know what the favor is yet.
Yeah.
But Boxer was in jail, and he was given protection by some sort of criminal boss or like gang leader or something
along those lines. Yeah.
He owes people for the protection he was given while he was in jail, so we have to go do a favor for him. We need 4 of us. We don't know what it is. We got to do it right now, though.
Exactly. So yeah, they get there. They get like led to a certain part of that parking garage, And there's more people with guns, and this boss man, and they all get out, and it's like, oh, who's she? And it's like, oh, she's the driver. It's like, oh, okay, and yeah, he learns that she doesn't even speak German and everything, and he's like, yeah, whatever, she's your problem. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this, but whatever. And they're like, so here's some guns, and they're like, what? There's some guns, some masks and stuff. It's like, oh, okay. And basically, this guy seemingly just got a hinge of some old guy getting some cash out of the bank because he wants to buy a car or something. I think an old-timey car.
Yeah.
And they have 50,000 euros stashed there. The lady who opens up the thing, or the two ladies or whatever, they're there at like 7:30, and you need to go there and intercept them. And you get them, and they kind of I think they drew the the blueprint of the bank on the floor of the parking garage, if I caught that correctly. Yeah. And he basically like, that's what's gonna happen there. She's gonna be there, blah 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 blah. And then they even drew
it's a layout. Yeah,
yeah, layout is probably a better word for sure. Yeah, and it's like, okay, she's gonna be there, blah 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 blah. He goes like through all the plan. And it's like, okay, now show me what you got. And they do a test run. They have to do a test run there. And they just go in there. It's like, get on the ground, blah, 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 blah. And they finish that. Victoria's just waiting on the side. And then when they're done with this, Box is like, well, you want to, when is that going to happen? Like right now? He's like, yeah, it is. Got anything better to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then the boss man also has like, well, I can't force you to do it. And they obviously go like, well, then we're not going to do it because they have this random person they just met with them.
Yeah.
So they're not going to do it.
And they don't want to rob a bank.
Yeah, they all don't want to do that. They didn't. Yeah. They're not like actual criminals going around. They were just up to some shenanigans in that night.
Yeah. And I like that the boss is like, hey, you don't have to do it. Maybe you could, so he says, first of all, there's a guy who's getting money out of the bank. It's in like a certain smaller safe inside the bank. They're not robbing the entire thing.
Yeah.
They're robbing a smaller safe that's behind the counter. And they're going to steal 50,000 euro. And it's like 10 for each of you and 10 for me.
Yeah, because apparently Boxer owes him 10 grand because he was under protection. I think I assume that was the deal they made when he was in jail.
Yeah. I'm actually not sure if they ever made a deal for a specific amount. I feel like the 10,000 might be kind of arbitrary in a sort of like mafia sense, where it's like,
yeah, I can see that.
You owe me $10,000, and
yeah,
it's like,
fair enough.
It's like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot, and it's like, well, I help protect you while you're in jail, so
yeah,
and so he says like, we don't want to do it. And he's like, I can't force you to do it, but you owe me $10,000. And he's like, well, I'll get it to you. Boxer says, I'll get it to you by the end of the week. And he's like, you couldn't afford cigarettes in jail, and you're going to get me 10 grand.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'll get it to you. And the boss has this really interesting moment where he goes, oh, okay. Well, meanwhile, the bitch stays with me. And he has one of his goons grab the woman, Victoria, kind of hold her. And it's like, all right, well, she stays here. She stays with me as collateral until you get me that money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they all immediately turn and go like, okay, fine, we'll do it.
Yeah,
Which is an interesting character trait, because they could have just ditched her because they don't know her, but they're not evil people. It's pretty important to point out, and you get to know that during the movie. So yeah, now their option is just we guess we just gotta do it.
Oh, there's an interesting little moment where the boss says like, here, take some of this. It's cocaine.
Right.
It'll help you be more aggressive when you're doing the job, and if you get caught, it means you'll have a lesser sentence because you're on drugs. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. And so now, on top of all the normal stress that would come with having to do this, they're all on coke.
Yeah, they coke. And something else. It's wait, where is it? I have it written down here, but we're going a bit too fast. Can do it in 2 minutes. Where is it? It was like 2 different things. Like they're coked up, drunk, and have something else. So there's like 3 things in their body right now.
Oh, I didn't catch that third thing. Yeah.
Let's see, where is it? Blah, blah, blah. Most reasonable choice. Oh, it's Tilly Dean.
What's that?
I don't know what it is, but it's some kind of drug. They just kind of spray it in their mouth. Let me
Oh,
check what it is.
interesting.
I heard of it. I don't know what it does, but I heard of it as a drug. Tilidine. That's a nice explanation. Can I have that in English so I don't have to translate it myself? Thank you. Opioid painkiller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so now they're
it's used for the treatment of moderate to severe pain, both acute and chronic. Its onset of pain relief after oral administration is about 10 to 15 minutes, and peak relief from pain occurs about 25 to 50 minutes after oral administration. Okay.
Interesting.
Is there anything for drug use? Not really.
Well, I mean, it sounds like I could understand why that's given, So anyway, they have to go rob a bank now, and they're stressed out about it, especially Boxer's friends. So Boxer is kind of the one, like, it's all his fault essentially that they're all dragged into this. Because they didn't go to jail, they don't know this guy anything, but they're all being dragged along to go to this low-level bank robbery, right? And they're conflicted about bringing this woman with them, because they don't want to drag her into this.
Yeah.
But now they're stressed out. They're coked up as well. And is it Blinker?
It's Blinker, yeah.
Yeah, he starts having like a panic
attack. He has a fat panic attack.
Yeah, a big fat one. Yeah.
He's like, stop the car, my heart. Oh my God. And Victoria's like, I'm going to stop the car. And Buck's like, don't stop the car. No. And they kind of go back and forth, but they eventually stop the car. And he just kind of goes out immediately, just starts lying on the floor, sobbing, crying. Just like, I don't want to die. And he's like having a proper panic attack.
Yeah. And Boxer is like really mad at him and aggressive. Like, come on. He's like hitting him and stuff. And there's this great moment where Victoria kind of like stops him from hitting him and like tries to comfort him. And that little bit of like sort of, I don't know, reassurance and comfort kind of helps calm him down. It's really interesting way to, like, from a writing perspective, an interesting way of using her, in the group. Like what she brings to the group is really interesting.
Yeah.
So she calms him down, and then they go on their way.
I'm just trying to find that one specific shot because unfortunately all the copies I could find of this, I think this is actually filmed on a pretty low quality camera almost by choice. Unless I just couldn't find a good copy of it, because I couldn't get one on Amazon or anything to watch. It was actually kind of hard to get this to be watchable somewhere.
When I first saw it a couple of years ago, it was on Amazon Prime, and then when I went to go find it to rewatch it for this, it was very difficult.
Yeah,
I think it's on Showtime in the US anyway, but I don't have Showtime. I think it's not terribly low quality, the movie itself.
No.
I mean,
it's just
there's definitely some like low, like it's pretty low. It's an all natural light, so it's kind of grainy sometimes.
I guess it's the lighting then. Yeah.
Oh, I think your quality is a little lower. Mine's a little higher than that.
But
it's proper like 1080p. I don't think it's a bad camera. I think it's just
okay. I was just wondering if that was a deliberate choice or not, or if I just got a shit copy. But yeah, it's like while she's calming Blinker down, like Zonna is just looking at him really pissed. He has like this stare of like, what the fuck, man? Like what are we doing? Like he has the death stare at him. It's just give me something. Basically, he's just looking at him like, come on, give me something. Like. Are we actually doing that?
Is it at this point, or it's at some point he says to Boxer, he says, "I hate you." He's really mad.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in this segment where he's like, I fucking hate you. I think it's actually when they get the masks and everything. I think somewhere there he says it.
Yeah. He's not happy with Boxer. Understandably, I'd say.
Yeah. But Boxer is not happy with Boxer right now, so that's
true.
He's not having he definitely did not plan for his friends to get taken into this. Right.
So after he has the panic attack, he sort of calms down. They get back in the van, and then they pull up to the bank.
Yeah, and we actually don't see what's happening in the bank, which I found a very interesting choice. We stay with Victoria, who has her own little crisis going on.
Yes. So she's, to be clear, she's the getaway driver. She's not actually running into the bank. And so we pull up to the bank. They jump out of the minivan that they stole. I don't remember who's. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they stole the minivan earlier, and so they pull up. They jump out and they run in. They rush the person who's opening the door to the bank and with guns, and they're screaming at her and all this stuff. And then we just wait in the car with Victoria.
Yeah, and
which
then
is it's so stressful.
It is very stressful. And what I like about the scene specifically is that the car turns off, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna guess I'm just gonna turn it back on." And she realizes, wait, there's no key. And then she looks down, and is like, "Oh, this is a stolen car." So gotta do the wire thing, but she obviously has no fucking clue how that works. So he's just panicking. He's like, shit, what are we gonna do? She like gets out of the car, looks below the steering wheel, and is like, I don't know what's going on. And just kind of waiting for them to come back, and it's like, oh fuck. And as soon as they come out, he's like, Boxer, the car's not turning on. It's not turning on. And it's interesting because we have this really tense scene, but as soon as Boxer's there, it's basically a non-issue. He just goes like, yeah, no problem, and then turns it on.
Oh yeah. He turns it on, but everyone's still really amped up and really stressed out. And they're driving away, and they're like trying to drive normally to not arouse suspicion, but they don't know exactly where they're going because they haven't planned this part out.
Yeah.
And so it's like, turn here. No, don't turn here. And they're just like shouting at each other.
Yeah, like everyone's really adrenaline stressful. Is pumping. They're coked up. Yeah. They're drunk kind of still. They're like, fuck, I need to get out. And then they just kind of get into the side alley behind maybe a factory or something. I couldn't really tell. They just hide the car there. Really.
Yeah. So they
kind of hide it. It doesn't really look very hidden, to be honest.
No, but I don't think they were trying to hide the car a whole lot because it's not their car. They could just leave it, you know.
Yeah, but they just wanted to get out of the car and then move along and go do something else.
I think Blinker has a really distinctive jacket that they make him take off and stuff like that.
Boxer throws away his jacket as well. I think they all kind of throw stuff away. Yeah, and they just
so when they park, they park the car finally in an alley, and then they kind of breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, and now they're
go ahead.
Yeah, now they're just really happy. They're like, "Oh fuck, it worked! We did it! Yeah!" And they're like hugging each other, high fives all around. It's like, good, job well done. And all I could think at this point is like, man, you gonna get fucked. You are.
I know
fucked.
How stories work.
Not even because of the story. Just look at how sloppily everything was done. Like they just kind of get away. They don't even get away that far from the actual crime scene, and then put the car somewhere on the side. And you see like Sonne kind of trying to get rid of fingerprints like on the one handle. And I was like, that's not gonna do anything. But I appreciate the effort, I guess. But yeah, they just kind of walk away from the car, go like, hey, we gotta go to have some drinks and stuff. And that's where they end up back in the bar where we started the movie, actually.
Yeah, the nightclub. They go back. So at the very, very beginning, Victoria's dancing in the nightclub by herself, kind of lonely, looking for some sort of excitement, you know. And then when she's on her way out, they're trying to get in, and the bouncers aren't letting them, presumably because they either don't have any money for the cover charge, or they're like, they recognize them as sort of local, I don't know, street guys.
Well, they were already kicked out in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, were they kicked out?
Yeah. Those four were the ones that were kicked out, and that's how they met eventually.
Yeah. I know they were. I didn't know if they were kicked out or they weren't allowed. Actually, I don't think they were kicked out in the beginning. I think they weren't being allowed in because there's a part where Zonner, the first thing he says to Victoria is like, "Hey, is it a good party in there?"
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like they're trying to get in, the bouncers aren't letting them, and then when she's on her way out, that's when they. So now that they have money from stealing a whole bunch of it, they go back to the club to kind of celebrate and to relieve some of the stress and, be excited and, go crazy and sort of, celebrate the bank robbery they just did. And so they go back into the club and then they go fucking bananas.
Yeah, Blinker and Boxer just take off all their clothes and just start dancing in the club. I like that Snakes just wrote in chat. I think there's dong here. Be careful.
Yes, there is dong here.
I'm careful. I'm just using this shot. But yeah, just remember they're coked up. They have like some painkillers in them, and they're drinking again, and are probably still drunk.
And they just did something very, very stressful and seemingly got away with it.
Yeah,
so, like,
adrenaline rush, dopamine rush, everything. And they're like, yeah, let's go. Like Blinker gets like 2 bottles of whiskey from the bar Like, it's
Yeah.
absolutely nuts. And then they just kind of dance. Victoria and Sonne finally have some kissy time.
Yeah.
They're just having a great time. I'm just like, man, this really feels like the calm before the storm. And fuck me, was I right? I was right in a way that I didn't expect I would be right in.
So they're having a blast. A couple of them have taken all their clothes off and they're like tackling each other and generally disrupting the mood. And it was a really interesting choice. We could talk more about some of the directorial and editing choices, but well, editing is weird because there's no cuts. But there's music that comes in that's score, and you don't hear any of the club music, and so you just kind of see them going crazy while this sort of melancholy piano music plays. It's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
And so they get kicked out because the bouncers are like, fucking knew you guys were in trouble. And so they kick them out, and they're still having a good time. They're still laughing and carrying on. And then they're at some point, I don't know who the first person to says it is, but they're like, hey, where's Foos? The guy whose birthday it was, who was passed out. And oh shit, we left.
It's funny because I already was like, he's out of the story. Like, he got lucky. He got the lucky number. He actually got drunk and puked. He's probably just lying somewhere in that cafe. just having a puke. And then they're like, oh, he's actually still in the car that we stole earlier.
Yes.
They just left him in there because they forgot. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and so they're like, oh, fuck, we forgot Foos in the car. I think he's in the trunk lying down.
Yeah, probably.
Just, like, passed out. And so they're like, oh, fuck, I can't believe we forgot Foos. Haha, that's so funny. They start walking back towards the van. They round the corner, and it's surrounded by police cars.
Of course it was. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's like, okay, damn. And, like, Blinker's, like, almost halfway in there. And they're like, oh shit. He's like, come back. Like, he doesn't have any shirt on. Like, he's just kind of, woo.
Yeah.
So they turn around.
Number one is they got Foos. Now, granted, Foos doesn't know about the crime.
Yeah, he's just kind of lying in the back, being very drunk. He's probably going to be very surprised when he wakes up.
Yes. So that's not good. But also they don't have their car. And so they start walking away, like they're trying to be cool and play it cool, and so they're walking away, but they're not sure where they're going. I think they're originally heading for the roof again.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it's at this point where they see a police car, like, that starts following them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit! So they start running.
They start running, and the police catches up. And you have to remember, they still have their guns with them.
Yes. They still have their guns on them.
So they start running away, and like I think it's a civil police car. I think is like turning into them in front of them. Like it's a undercover one.
Yeah.
It's like, stop, police! And Boxer Sonne has the gun in his hand, and he's aiming at them directly, which is not very smart, of course.
No.
And there's more policemen, and they're just running with guns. And the police start shooting because they're running at them with guns. So Blinker gets shot.
Yep.
And Boxer gets shot after that. And
the first person we see is Blinker, and he's down.
Yeah.
In a bad way. Yeah. Then they manage to hit Boxer as well.
Yeah, but not badly yet. And they just kind of hide behind a thing, and Box's like, here, take the money. I'm just going to distract them. And he just runs at the police with the gun, and you just hear shots. Victoria and Sonne just go away for some bushes.
We lost 2 of them, just like that, too.
Yep.
3 of them if you count Foos. Foos isn't dead, but
he's
also out of the picture.
Yeah, I think he still got off pretty easy, pretty good. All things considered. So then Sonne and Victoria make their way towards a hotel, I think.
They go to, it's like an apartment building, I think.
Oh, right, that comes first. Yeah, right. So
they make their way to an apartment building, and they run up the stairs, and they find a guy in the stairwell, and he says, let us into your apartment. He like points a gun at him. It's like, let us into your apartment. So they go into the guy's apartment, and there's this great little moment that I think says a lot about Sonar as a character.
Yeah.
Is they get into the guy's apartment and there's a little baby in the apartment.
Yeah.
And Sonar says to the guy who he just held at gunpoint to force him into the apartment, he's like, "Why'd you let me in here? There's a kid in here. What are you, stupid? Why'd you let me in here?"
Yeah, he's very upset with that guy, which is interesting to hear from him after he just held him at gunpoint.
Mm-hmm. And so the police are starting to surround the building, and like they're saying over like megaphones, like, "No one leave your apartments." So like they can't stay here forever.
Stay put, blah blah blah, all the 9 yards. And yeah, no, they're just kind of getting their shit together basically, and of all people, Victoria just starts thinking about the scenarios like, we're gonna grab some clothes from these people, and we're gonna take their baby to get out of here. And the mother is not happy with that,
no.
Of course.
But Victoria's like, no, it's gonna be okay. We're not gonna hurt your baby. You just need to use your baby. We're gonna take your baby. And they steal some of her clothes, so they change their appearance. And like, we're gonna take your baby, and we're just gonna go to that shop across the street, and we're gonna leave your baby there. But I just need your baby, okay? I'm not gonna hurt it. Nothing's gonna happen, and it's very stressful. And if you're watching the stream, we'll talk more about this later, but like the way this is shot lends everything such as like chaotic, sort of frenetic energy to everything. It's just it's a very good kind of stressful.
Absolutely, yeah. And then Zana comes around and just holds the gun in the mom's face. It's like, no, stop it. I'm trying to reason with her to take her baby, which will probably not work. But yeah, they end up just forcing the mom away. Like Victoria takes her back. It's like, come on, just go grab the baby.
And so they're screaming and wailing and yelling and all sorts of stressful things. And they grab the baby and they head down to the, They go to leave the building. They're going down the stairwell. Yeah, and on the stairwell,
they're greeted by a police force. Like probably it's like some kind of SWAT team, basically.
Yeah,
it's probably the easiest explanation.
And they're pretending to be oblivious people who live here. Like, what's going on? They just told us to get away from the building.
And the policemen are trying to get like a suspect description, but because it's so early still, it's still kind of chaos, so they don't really know what's going on. And tell them, hey, just wait here. Some colleagues are going to come and pick you up. And they're like, okay. And then they wait a little bit. It's like, and then they go. And then they
go past. They run out of the building. They run across the street to a little cafe there. They leave the baby inside the cafe as promised. And she calls a cab. And that's when they manage to call the cab, and then they get away and they head to a nearby hotel.
Yes. So yeah, they go to that hotel. Ask the driver, "Oh, what hotel?" It's like $50, $500. He's like, "Oh, it doesn't matter really. Just get us somewhere.
Any hotel, please.
Any hotel." And they get to the hotel. They just kind of sit down somewhere. And if you look at Zoda, he's like kind of being like weird, like out of breath. But it seems to get worse. And you're like, okay, I don't know really what's going on. And Victoria's like, well, wait a second, I'm just gonna.
Well, he asks her if she has a passport.
Yeah.
She says no. He's like, well, we need a passport to get a room. And she's like, you wait here. I'll go talk to someone. I'll arrange a room.
Yeah.
You just relax. And so he sits down, and kind of like the bank robbery, we stay with him instead of following her to the.
No, we follow her. Well, first we follow her to the bathroom.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, we follow her to the bathroom. She like throws out the puffy jacket and tries to clean herself up and make herself look presentable. In the mirror.
Yeah. And then we go back to where he sits, and then we stay with him, and we see her going back to the counter, grabbing a room, and they go up in the elevator to the room. And
and she's starting to notice that he doesn't seem all that great.
Yeah, it's like, are you okay? And it's like, oh shit, you're bleeding. Yeah, it turns out he has been shot, actually.
Yes. And
he was hit
like
somewhere.
Some combination of he didn't notice it at first, or just kind of pushed through it, didn't realize how bad it was. Something like that, yeah. And it's like the adrenaline's starting to wear off a little bit after he sat down and after they've gotten away, that like the adrenaline's wearing off, and now it's kind of hitting him how badly he's injured.
Yeah. Like
they go up to the room, and like she's like, oh shit, you need to go to the hospital. We can't just stay here.
Yeah,
he's like, no hospital. I'll be fine.
Yeah, he even says like, oh, it's cold and stuff, and it's like, I just need to lie down. And you're immediately like, that's not gonna end well for you, buddy.
No.
And yeah, they go into the room. He just lies down. She grabs some water, and he immediately turns on the TV because he wants to know if they are on the TV, obviously, and they are. And this is
They
where
sure
we
are.
and this is where we learn that Boxer and Blinker have already died. One of
Oof.
them, they don't know which one died where, but one of them died on the spot, and the other one shortly after.
Hmm.
So yeah, not great
Things are
news.
not going well.
Not going very well. Yeah. So she grabs
And
some water.
he turns the TV off after a bit, and then she's trying to help him out. She like takes his hand away to see how bad it is, and it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
He's bleeding a whole
a
bunch.
lot of blood.
Hmm.
She's like, oh, well, you need an ambulance like right now. And he's like, no ambulance. And he's like, you know what? Grab the money. Nobody knows who you are. Just grab the money and go back to Spain. Nobody's gonna know who you are anyway. Just fucking go. And he's like, fuck no, I'm gonna call an ambulance. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna let you
I'm
die.
just gonna leave you here. Yeah, and so
so-
she does call an ambulance, I believe.
Yeah, she does, and she comes back with some. No, just comes back and just kind of stays with him. It's like, stay up, stay with me. It kind of keeps him awake, but she basically watches him die for 2 minutes, and then he dies. And
Yeah,
then the most ugliest cry scene I have ever seen in my life happen.
yeah,
But it's very accurate. It's like real and gross because she's kind of
Exactly.
crying, but also almost puking.
Yeah, and she's like this is snot and
Yeah,
sweat and blood. It's a big mess. One thing I really like about this scene, I mean, it's a little hard to watch, just like watching him die.
Yeah.
And then and because of the way the movie's shot, like this all happens in real time.
Yeah.
And so we just see her kind of fall over and cry and just kind of we see it all, and we don't get to cut away. We don't get to speed up the process. We just watch it all play out, and it goes on for a bit.
Yeah,
And,
it's tough.
You'll
It's
see
tough
it.
watch.
Yeah, and you'll see it in the thumbnail for the stream. There's this shot that we land on. There's this really great moment where the camera like goes out of focus, and instead of racking focus, like adjusting the focus to get her in focus again, the camera just slowly, gradually pushes back.
There it is.
Goes closer and closer until she's in focus again. And it's just really, I like that shot a lot.
Yeah.
Really good. And that's kind of marking the end of her cry, of
Yeah.
her ugly cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's had a rough day. We'll put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. I would say so. Not great. One change. One change with her for sure.
Yeah. So after she's had her ugly cry, she like walks over to the other side of the bed, sees the bag of money, decides to grab it, and then she leaves.
Yeah.
She leaves the hotel.
and walks
we just
into the distance.
Yeah, she walks all the way down the stairs. She takes the elevator. She goes all the way down. She walks out the lobby, and then we just see her walking off into the distance.
Yeah.
And that's the end.
Yeah, and that's where we can kind of speculate. She's just going to go back to Spain, but I think the more likely scenario is that she's going to get caught. I think.
Yeah, probably.
I guess she's going to try, but I think in the end she's going to get caught. Well, at least she didn't get shot, I guess. That's
Yeah, at least she's
quite
not
nice.
dead. That's something.
Yeah, this movie is quite the ride. If you can tell, the first hour is pretty quickly explained, and then I don't know, the last 50 minutes just fucking
A lot happens
A
very
lot
quickly.
happens. It's nuts. It's really crazy.
So speaking of how relatively short and simple the story itself is, because it's a woman at a nightclub. She runs into these German guys. She's having a good time, kind of partying with them, and then she gets roped into a bank robbing sort of scheme. And then everything goes wrong, and a bunch of them end up dead. That's the gist of it, right?
Yeah.
Interesting fun fact about like the making of the movie is that the script was about 15 pages long.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
The rough sort of shorthand people typically use is that a page of a script is roughly a minute of screen time, roughly. So they had about like 15 minutes worth of story, 15 minutes worth of a script.
Yeah.
And a lot of the dialogue is improvised. A lot of like
Oh, okay.
what they do and how they do has been improvised on the spot by the actors.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, from a story perspective, I think it's quite good as a crime thriller
Yeah.
suspense kind of movie. Uh, but I think obviously the most remarkable part about it is the fact that it's one long
One long take.
2 hour plus take
Yeah.
with no seams, no cuts, nothing. And it actually, and I think that lends such an interesting energy to the story itself. So here's a fun fact about how it was made, because one of the first questions I had when I was thinking about how this movie was made is like, how many takes did it take them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like how many tries? And it turns out that the answer is actually 3.
Damn. Okay.
Which is weird. So it's more interesting than that because
Okay.
to to secure the funding to get the movie made in the first place, because this is a very risky endeavor. I think there's only really one other feature-length movie that's done this, and it's some like Russian historical epic that's a lot of like a camera moving slowly through rooms. It's less story-based. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a Russian movie.
Okay.
So this is maybe only the second time a whole feature-length movie has been shot in one long take, right? And so to get the funding for the movie, he had to be like, look, that's the A plan, but plan B, if that doesn't work, is that we'll shoot it like a normal movie, and we'll jump cut around. We'll shoot kind of longer extended sequences, but we'll separate scenes with cuts.
Gotcha.
We won't connect everything, because if the one take doesn't work, because it has to be really good or at least pretty good for 2 hours straight, that's really, really tough, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
they thought like maybe it was impossible to make it all. So they what they did originally is they shot the movie in like 10-minute increments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like
So there's
at the club.
So I guess there's a version out there that is not one take.
Yeah, somewhere in someone's hard drive.
Ah, that's
So
cool.
like they shot everything at the club in the beginning, and then I don't know where the cuts are, but basically like the bank robbery sequence is like one thing, and then going back to the club afterwards is another, and then the hotel, so they sort of broke it up into these, let's say, 10 to 12 minute sequences, something like that.
Yeah.
And they filmed all of those. So they rehearsed those, they practiced those, they figured out what the dialogue and the actions were going to be, but they didn't connect them all.
Yeah.
So they shot all of that. And they're like, cool, we have the movie in the can, as they say. We have a movie.
Yeah.
So now we can do the one take stuff.
Damn.
And so,
okay.
And they only had a limited budget. So but they only started doing it all together once they knew they had everything else, just in case the one take thing fails. So then they shoot one take, the very first take of the whole thing all the way through. And according to the director, it sucks. It's just they're just going through the motions, trying to remember everything. It doesn't have any.
Wait, hang on. So they did a full take one all the way through, not like halfway through and there's some weird mistake and they start over. They make a full one and then the director's like, no, it was bad. Do it again.
Yeah, well, they did it all the way through. They just, so I don't think they did any where he made it seem like they didn't do any where we got like 3/4 of the way through and then we stopped.
Okay.
Yeah. So they went through the entire thing and they said it was just like going through the motions. It wasn't very good. It didn't have the energy he wanted. The actors felt like they were just trying to remember the beats and stuff like that, and they weren't really, living it. And so they did another take, right? And the second take, he told the actors to, do more emotional, be bigger, go a little crazier, have fun with it, right? And so he said the second take, they went a little too crazy. And it didn't have the energy he wanted. They made it all the way through, with an acceptable amount of little mistakes. Because one thing, if you watch the final film, you'll notice that like every now and then the camera kind of goes a little out of focus, right? Because it's a tight wire act trying to get all of these pieces.
Yeah, and there's some tight places here and there, so there's not a lot of space to move around for the cameraman as well. So
exactly, and you have to commit to one lens for the entire movie. Yeah, there's no zooming out or anything, and so they did the second take, and they said the actors went a little too crazy. It wasn't quite what he hoped it would be. Around this time is when the editor has finished a rough cut of the version with all the jump cuts and cutting around like a normal movie, right? And so the director and the team, they watch the rough cut of the movie shot more traditionally, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't very good." The director was like, "I don't know. It didn't have the energy he wanted. He like knew that he wanted it in the long take, and then when you cut around, it just didn't quite have it." And so he said, like, "Well, we have it. It's a movie, but it's not great." He wasn't super happy with it, and he's like, "Oh, fuck." Because they only really had the budget for one more attempt at the one take all the way through.
Okay.
And so they had, their meetings and stuff. The way he describes it, the director, he's like, it was tense. It wasn't the kind of meeting where you walk away like, "Hey, great talk, everybody." Like, people were, there's a lot of stress, right? Because we only really had one more chance.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did the third take, and that's the one you see.
Damn.
And I think it's remarkably good.
Yeah.
I mean, considering what I find so remarkable about the movie is that, God, like how much they have to do, right? Because the actors are really good. I think the acting is incredible, especially like Victoria has to do a lot. Just the whole gambit of human emotion in this, and it's exhausting. It's got to be exhausting. It's like 2 hours of like performing just, intensely the entire time. And like getting in and out of cars and going upstairs and like the whole thing. And you can feel their exhaustion by the end of the movie. And
Absolutely.
I think that really helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's crazy. No, it's just insane. So it's the last chance to make it really good. And they did it.
And they nailed it. I think they nailed it. From a technical perspective, like, sometimes the camera's a little out of focus. Like that's really the worst of it. You know what I mean? There's a couple times, I think there's one shot where they have to they're riding off on a bike, and it's clear that the camera guy has to jump on the back of a bike someone else is driving. And it's a little wobbly. They don't have money for like an expensive stabilized rig and everything. So it's a little it's a little rough around the edges.
I actually thought the cameraman was just running.
Yeah.
Then might have actually maybe he was just running.
He does at some point. He definitely is running at some points, but I think he gets on the back of a bike at one point, because if he was running full out to catch up with the bike, it'd be super, herky jerky.
That makes sense. He would jump on the bike for sure. Absolutely. If there's something you wanted to go for, otherwise I thought we might talk about some of the characters and stuff. Yeah, no, actually I have some things I would be interested in. So obviously because I think the whole Duolingo thing is very interesting, because I think you probably had a very different experience of this movie than I did, because me obviously speaking both languages, I could just understand everything. Yes. And I was just like, man, if you don't understand German language, you could probably think these four are gonna do some bad things to that lady. Yeah, you don't really know. So that's a really good point, because the first time I watched this movie, I think it was on Amazon Prime, there were no subtitles for the German at all, right? Which I think is, if you don't speak German and you do speak English, I think that might be. It's tough to say which I think is the better way of watching the movie, because if you don't understand what the characters are saying in German, you're kind of locked into the main character's perspective, right? Because she doesn't speak German. So when they're speaking German to each other, she can't understand what's going on. So if you can't understand what's going on, you're kind of in her shoes. Like when they go into the parking garage and they're talking with the criminal gang leader guy. And you're just like, I don't know what's happening right now. I just understand that this looks really kind of scary. You know what I mean? Yeah. Snakes just said in chat, I had no subtitles and no German knowledge, and I thought she was going to end up in the freezer. Yeah, because I could see that, because that was a thought that I had. Because I was just watching that, I was like, oh yeah, that's just a normal night out in Berlin, like, or anywhere else. Like, the way they talk, it's just like, yeah, they just talk like people in Berlin. They're just doing some shenanigans. But obviously, if you don't speak the language, they could talk about all kinds of things, They're like, oh, I'm gonna strap her down to the bed or something. That's what they could say, right? But for me, it's just like, oh, they have like the Berlin accent, and they're like, oh, let's do this and this and this. They're just gonna do some shenanigans. Because it's really interesting, because I said to you in DMs, like in the first 45 minutes, I was like, what am I even watching? Like, it just looks like I'm
Yeah.
watching someone have a night out. Like, what is,
Hmm.
what is, what is, when is the thing happening that's gonna make this interesting? Because right now, I'm having a hard time committing to this movie.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that tension going on because I understood everything, which
Yeah.
is probably an interesting thing to consider when you do a movie like that.
Yeah, that's a good point because I do think there's more tension. There's definitely more tension in the first half when you don't speak German. Because
Absolutely.
like her, you don't really know what they're talking about. But when I did watch it to prepare for the stream, I watched a version with the German subtitles.
Yeah, it's funny because I
And
used English subtitles all the way through just so I have better time taking notes. I
oh,
would,
interesting.
yeah, but I would have used I would have understood anything anyway. But yeah, there's like full subtitles. They just even tell you the things they talk about in the background sometimes, which is kind of interesting.
Interesting. Yes, but like I said, watching it this time around with the German subtitles, I really did appreciate like the character work happening between the guys when they're talking in German. And I think a lot of the dialogue that you don't get, you don't understand clearly if there's no subtitles for the German and you don't speak it.
Yeah,
A lot of the dialogue is really good. And so I appreciate hearing it. I feel like we're learning a lot about the characters. Oh, there's this little example, right? And we can talk about this scene because I think it's one of the better scenes for character stuff is when they're on the roof, right? You
yeah,
get that pulled up. There's this part where Boxer is sharing something kind of personal and something that's sensitive,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And Blinker makes some other sort of comment that's not really about what Boxer is saying, that's kind of sensitive, and he kind of laughs or whatever, and Boxer's like, it's not funny. He's like, no, dude, I wasn't, I'm not laughing at you, I was laughing at another thing. Like, I don't know, it just, and you get the sense that, well, I mean, we can talk about it, but like what Boxer's talking about, like it's a very sensitive I guess what I'm saying is I really believe their friendship, and I really believe
yes,
these characters and their relationships
absolutely.
with each other, and I think you get more of that when you understand what they're saying. So like I definitely appreciated understanding what they were saying. I think it
Yeah,
adds
yeah,
a level of dimension to it. But if I were to tell my friend, like I was just recommending Hugh, the guy who runs the channel with me, I was recommending the movie to him. I said, you should watch it without subtitles if you can. I think that might be the best way to watch it
yeah,
as an English speaker the first time
absolutely.
around. Yeah.
It's funny because if if I would have another person that has like the dual language going on like me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think I would. It's interesting because as we already said, you lose a lot of the tension, and
Yeah.
while because when I got to the thing when the whole crime thing starts, I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I don't know. The starting part was pretty good, like actor wise and everything. And I was just thinking to myself, was it worth it though to make it that long?
Mm.
And then I just got to thinking more. It's like, well, to be fair, I understood everything, so I don't have that tension in the beginning of the movie where you're in Victoria's shoes, right?
Yeah.
As I said, for me, it was just like watching some people having a night out and just talking about some things and stuff, and just like, oh, I'm gonna do this and blah blah blah, and then they talk in
Like
German,
you're
and
watching them.
and I understand
Sorry,
them as well. It was like, okay, yeah, okay, and that's probably that's like a problem that is me, obviously, with me, a problem in quotations, I would say.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because the movie was made by Germans.
Yes, yeah,
And I feel like the movie, you have to imagine, is primarily made for a German audience, right?
right, yeah, that
So it's hard to say that one is like the better way of seeing it, because they're different. See, I do think that the first half of the movie, or maybe the first third, somewhere in that range, is I find it interesting. It is a little slow because we're building things up, but
yeah.
I like their sort of flirting with each other. I find
Oh yeah.
I
It
find
feels
them
very
both
genuine,
believable. Yeah,
very
but
genuine.
I like Sana a lot. He's really
Yeah,
funny.
he just
to
seems
me.
like a
I don't
good
know.
person.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's kind of tied up in some bad stuff, but like, and I like the whole. I don't know. I like the dynamic between all the friends where like he's hitting on her, and he's like, no, 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 I'm talking to her, and the other guys are like trying to butt in or whatever, and he's like gonna go off with her. He's gonna go. He's taking her to the cafe where she opens up, and it's like, oh, the friend who's like going off with the girl instead of hanging out with the rest of his friends for the night, and they're like, oh, look at this guy, what a Casanova, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I found really charming and believable. I liked the scenes of them together. I thought it was a really interesting way of doing a sort of, well, I think one of the things that's really interesting about the movie, and I mean, is that like she's Spanish and he's German, neither speak each other's language, but they both speak English. So they're both speaking, you know, kind of not broken English, but like, you know, it's their second language and they're communicating that way. And so there's some miscommunications and things like that. There's some jokes that he makes that she doesn't pick up on, things like that. There's a part where he's like, she's going to go into the store and get some beer. And so Boxer like takes her bike for her, just holds onto it and he's riding it around. And Sana's like, oh, he's going to pimp your bike for you.
Right,
like,
right, yeah.
He's like, you know, the pimp. She's like, pimp? What does that mean? You know, like he's making little jokes and stuff like that are not translating.
I was wondering how their English in real life would be, because it's really hard to speak like a accent German or broken German like that when you actually know the language pretty well. Like when I say it's funny because, well, I'm German obviously, and when I hear people talk in like this really weird accent, I just kind of cringe. It's really weird because it's like, oh, just say the word right. I know you don't speak the language every day like I do, but just say the word right. It would probably be interesting to know if their English in a normal situation would be like that, or if they actually had to act this version of English, which I think is going to be pretty hard to do because it's hard to unlearn language.
Yeah, I think you're right. I imagine that they probably didn't. That's probably about how they sound speaking English. That's what I would assume, only because they have so much else to do for like the entire like 2-hour runtime of this movie that I imagine it's very hard to consciously focus on making your English worse than it actually is when you have so much else to do. I don't know. It would surprise me, but you know, who knows?
But yeah,
so there's an interesting criticism in chat about.
I was about to bring that up, because I had I actually had the same thought to some degree.
So it's interesting because maybe one of the hardest things to wrap your head around or to believe when you're watching the movie is that Victoria would get involved with these guys, right?
Yeah,
and
one of them doesn't.
Certainly not a wise decision on her part. But
one of them doesn't even look
it's a believable one.
One of them doesn't even look really nice. He looks like a bit bullish, like a boxer specifically. It's like one of those people I would see in the series, like, oh, I hope he doesn't gonna beat me up now or stab me.
See, I think that it's like what she does is definitely not smart. It's not wise on her part to get involved with these guys, but I do think it's believable.
It can happen. You have to do a little bit of suspension of disbelief here, I would say. You have the upside for that is basically, well, she has been drinking until 4 a.m., so maybe she's just not very conscious of her decision. She seems to be kind of lonely. Maybe she's just this naive and innocent.
There's a couple things. Let's build it up, right? So number one is that she's been drinking and dancing for a while that night. That's, that won't go all the way, but it's part of it, right?
Yeah.
The second piece of it, I think this is an important little detail. She's at the bar by herself, right? She's in Germany. She's in Berlin by herself. She's working here, but she doesn't really know anyone here yet. She's just running this cafe and making, not a lot of money. So she's out clubbing at night. She's like trying to form a connection with someone. She talks to the bartender and she like tries to offer him a drink as well. Like, oh, do you want one? And he's like, no, thanks. She's desperate for some sort of connection, that kind of person that like wants to drink with the bartender because it's almost like a captive friendship they can have, and so, but it doesn't pan out. And so she's like, all right, I'm leaving. I'm going home. She's lonely. She's a little drunk. she really wants some sort of excitement, which is why she's going to this this nightclub and why she's trying to make friends with people. And so she runs into these guys that are kind of funny, and you get from their interactions that she does find them like amusing and charming, especially Sana. And he is pretty charming in my opinion. Like he's got some funny little lines and stuff like that. Like you can tell he's lying about things, but he kind of makes it funny in a way where it's like not okay, but like you can understand he's kind of humorous, right? They go into that store and he's like, oh, this, and she's like, oh, this is your store. And he's like, oh yeah, I used to own this store, and he's just obviously bullshitting.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy who's working at the counter who's asleep, and she goes to wake him up. He's like, oh no, don't wake him up. He's maybe he's dreaming. Maybe he's having a good dream.
Maybe having a good dream.
Maybe we shouldn't wake him up.
I'll pay him tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'll pay him. I know him. He's a good friend of mine. I'll pay him tomorrow. And it's like he's obviously just stealing from the guy because he's asleep. And like you can tell that she's having fun with them, and that she finds them kind of fun to be around, right? So that's another part of it. And I think she's goofing off with them on the roof. We'll come back to the roof scene, but I think maybe, and that's the scene where she kind of gets she gets a better understanding of Boxer, that he like that he might look kind of mean, but like there's something more there. But the most important scene in terms of character building, such that we can believe she would get involved with these guys in the first place, is when she's alone with Sana in the bar, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't know if you knew this about me, but I'm actually a really good piano player. And he's totally bullshitting, right? And because he can't play piano at all.
Yeah.
And they have this little back and forth. They're flirting, and she's like, oh, I play an instrument. He's like, oh yeah, what kind? And she's like, guess. And he's guessing. And eventually she says that she plays piano too. And then she plays piano, and she plays this rather complicated kind of romantic classical
she goes nuts. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I think it's Liszt. I think is the composer of that piece. It's a pretty it's a tough piece too. It's not easy, and she does a pretty good job. Not like,
wait, wasn't it
virtuosic.
Mephisto something?
Yeah, it's called the Mephisto Waltz or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, I guess so. The guy who composed it is Liszt or something.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mephisto Waltz. Yeah, it's Franz Liszt, I believe is his name. He's a piano composer. Anyway. So she plays it, and then she kind of stops. And what we find out here is that her backstory is that she's been in music conservatory since she was like 12 or something like that. From a very young age, she's been playing piano at a very high level, trying to make it as a classical pianist.
Apparently, she trained for like 16 years or something. If I've written that down correctly.
Yeah, something like, she's been playing for a long time. And, if you know anyone who has done that or is in that world, they practice all the time.
Yes.
All the time. Yeah, that's like all they do, right?
Yeah.
And I went to school. I went to undergraduate for music. I've met a lot of these people, right? These people who are really, really good at clarinet or whatever their one instrument is. And that's like all they do. I knew a number of people who were vocal performance music students, so they're singers, right? And they, oh my God, they practice all the time. They never drink coffee because it's bad for your voice. Like all this stuff. They would take days of silence to rest their voice and carry around notebooks to write down stuff so they could talk to the teachers. They're in it, right? And they practice all the time. And so she was in that world, and she is she's getting to the point where she's realizing that she's not quite good enough to make it. She's been doing this for almost her entire life, but she's not going to be quite good enough to really make it at that level. She might be able to teach music somewhere, but she's not going to be a professional performer.
Yeah, I think the teachers even told all the students basically, it's like, 90% of you are wasting your time here. It's like, okay.
It's very, very competitive. Yeah, and they're, it's very true. Not many of them will be able to play at that level.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of burnt out on that, realizing that she's not going to be, this isn't going to work out for her. She's not going to make it to the NBA, basically. So she has given up on that, and she's realized that she's kind of wasted, in her view, a lot of her young adult life, right? And Sana's trying to be nice about it. He's like, no, you play really, really well.
Yeah, these guys are stupid. I can't believe they said that. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, he's trying to be nice, and he does this little thing. He's like, "Hey, chin up, like you're great. Don't be depressed, And I really like those sort of scenes. And then so what that does for me in terms of her character and believing everything that happens afterwards is that she is really desperate to have a life, to do something outrageous, to go on some sort of adventure, to live a life that she believes adolescents live that she never got to because she practiced for 6 to 8 hours a day every day, right?
Yeah.
And so when she's given the opportunity with these guys that seem like they're fun or whatever, she wants a little bit of danger. She wants a little bit of excitement, a little bit of risk taking, something that she never got to do, right? And so that, I think, is probably the most important bit for believing that she would help these guys out and that she would get involved in this. I think it's enough. I understand that some people don't.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I'm on board with you. I mean, I don't really have anything to add to that. That's the points I would make as well, pretty much. But yeah, especially this is from 2015. This is where, so yeah, it's a modern movie, so I can see how people were like, I don't think this girl is going to go with them. But yeah, I think all the things we build up here, I think they sufficient, of course.
I think so.
Very much so.
And
imagine the alternate ending where she just went home. It's like, no, I don't want to do anything with you. Just roll credits.
That'd be a very boring movie. I like to imagine that we'd still get another hour and a half, but it would just be her opening the shop. No, but yeah, so I think it's enough to get her there. And I think what I would invite anyone who thinks it doesn't make sense to consider is that this isn't what most people would do, but all you really have to believe for this to be a believable story that makes sense is that someone would do this and that someone like her would be capable of making that decision. I think that's reasonable. It's definitely it's something that if you can't get on board with, I don't know what to tell you. I think that person exists is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a reason why there's still killers out there who get away with that stuff, because they find people who follow them.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, she's a little gullible. I think you could say that as well.
Oh yeah.
She's definitely sheltered, right? That's part of her backstory, is that she's just been in a music conservatory practicing by herself for so long. She's a little gullible. She's a little willing to go along with these guys that seem charming and affable and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely.
I quite like her character. I found her really believable. I find that the actress did a really, really good job, especially when she has to do the whole range of human emotion, like I said earlier.
Yeah, she does it all in this one. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. But yeah, let's quickly go back to the roof.
Yes.
And talk about Boxer, who has basically been this I don't know, bullish but kind of fun still. When they're going to that shop, which is called Spätkauf, which basically just means buy late.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty common way to call one of these 24/7 shops that are open at night. I think I have one in my city here somewhere as well. This is called the same.
Yeah.
He just kind of does flips and stuff. It's like, oh, look at this, and then Zana goes like, oh, look, you find someone to impress again. Good job with that one move. It's like,
yeah. I like their banter a lot. I think it's really funny.
I can see these 4 people just running around here down my street. Actually, I could just see that happen. Just being loud and drunk and whatever.
It's just it's very believable. There's a part where Foos, he kind of bends over and he he kind of backs up into Sana. He's like, cut that bisexual shit out.
Oh yeah.
What are you, some kind of faggot? He says some stuff like that just feels very much like the banter you expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does say that. It's right. I remember laughing about that. So yeah, they're on the roof. They're just, I don't know, they're just kind of talking, just having some drinks. Seems like they're like one of their hangout spots.
Yeah.
What makes it really genuine as well is because every time someone starts to speak a little bit louder, one of them goes like, shut up, don't be so loud.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that's so fucking relatable at that time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, at some point, Victoria notices, I think it's a tattoo on his hand, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey, what's that about?" And it seems to be just like a reminder of something. And he says like, "Yeah, I got that in jail." And
Oh, it's interesting because the first thing he says is that she asks him about the tattoo. He kind of takes a moment and like, it's like, is that a sore subject? What's going on? And finally he says something like, "I hurt a guy really bad." And she's like, "What?"
right.
Like, I'm not a bad guy, but I hurt a guy really bad.
Yeah.
And she's like, "So you have a tattoo? I don't understand. What does that have to do with the tattoo?" And then Foos or someone says like he was in jail.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Putting the pieces together.
Yeah, and then he goes like, he makes sure to point out, hey, that doesn't make me a bad person. I just made a mistake in the past. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he really doesn't want anyone to think he's like a bad guy or a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes on to say, hey, but did you make the tattoo because of that? So then, yeah, that's basically what is this. Yeah, the friends noticing when she was asking that, like they all go silent, like no one is really talking except Boxer, because they clearly know what this is all about. Like they're close friends.
Mm-hmm. They make some comment about how Blinker went and visited him in jail and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure. You don't get a good look at the tattoo itself. I wasn't sure if the tattoo was some sort of like gang tattoo.
Yeah, I have no idea. I couldn't actually make it out on my copy at all.
Yeah, I don't think you're meant to. I think the idea, this is what I got from it, is that it's some sort of gang tattoo. And she's like, "What's that?" And he's like, I hurt a guy really bad, being like, I went to prison. This is a tattoo that I got while I was in prison. I went to prison because I hurt a guy really bad, but I'm not a bad guy. He never really explains the tattoo. But I think, I mean, obviously this is before he gets the call about the guy who he owes money, who he owes a favor to. I think it's supposed to be some sort of gang tattoo.
Yeah, probably.
Like prison gang tattoo. Yeah.
Something along those lines, yeah.
I don't think he would have a tattoo to like, you know, sometimes gang members in America, like they'll have like a teardrop tattoo or something like that. It means
it means you killed someone. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
I don't think that's what it was supposed to be.
No.
It could be. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so and it's really interesting that they all kind of go quiet, right? They're like, we'll let him tell it if he wants to, but we're not going to say anything. This is a sensitive topic for Boxer, but she's really like understanding, which I thought was really interesting. I actually kind of like that because when she leaves in a few minutes, she's like, "Hey, Boxer, good guy," something like that, and it's like, oh, that's nice. You know, she treats him really earnestly. Like, I understand, like you're a good guy, and you're not trying to, you know, let that mistake define you and all that stuff. And you do get there's a scene earlier before they go to the roof where Boxer gets it, like starts to get in a fight with two guys he sees on the street.
Right, yeah, because they're just kind of, I know that they're just being rude, I think, to these guys, and
they seem to know him like already. That seemed to be the vibe to me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then it was just kind of like, what's your problem? Blah, 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 blah. And and he's immediately goes like aggressive mode. It's like, what do you want, man? Come on, I'm gonna fuck you up, basically.
They start to like grab each other or whatever, and they have to be pulled apart.
Yeah, have a little scuffle.
And then Victoria does a really interesting thing where she like Boxer, beer, and like hands him a beer to try to break him out of that aggressive mode he was in.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
Really funny in that scene as well, right before that, when they just walk around, like Foos is just on the street, just doing like the arms out. He's like, woo! Like it already tells, like, oh, he's one of those friends. I got it.
Yeah, he's one of those for sure.
He's really drunk.
Off his ass. Yeah,
it's really great.
It's a really interesting group of friends. Like we said before, very believable. And so then, when they're up on the roof, we're getting to know more about Boxer. And his relationship with the other members of the group, right? Like we said before, the part where Blinka he's like, it's not funny. He's like, hey man, I wasn't laughing at you. It was about something else. Like, he's trying not to antagonize him. And then Victoria like goes and sits on the ledge and is like looking, and she's like, oh my God, it's so high. And they're like, get down, like
Stop
get
it.
down from there. It's dangerous. Like, we don't want you falling off the roof. That would be very bad, you know? And then we get like, I really like the scenes of just her and Zana like flirting with each other, because she's like, what, are you scared? He's like, no, I am never scared.
I'm never scared. Still trying to impress her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all very genuine. There's like a bunch of small things you just notice when you look at it. And if you ever had a late night out with the boys and you just recognize these scenarios, like you have this one friend who just goes away from everyone, just starts doing some bullshit. It's like, just come back here, god damn it. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, I have one of my friends, like when we were still in school, like he was always the one who just started running away.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes we just lost him for an hour, and then he's just back. It's like, hey. It's like, okay.
That's me to a degree. That was me a little bit. Like, we'd be out somewhere. We're like, I don't know, we were visiting some friends in like Pittsburgh or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're all at a party, and I'm like, this sucks, and I just like left to go get food, and then just come back. Yeah, I'm that guy in the group.
I remember one particular night where one of our friends left early to go to my friendo's place to already go to sleep, but he forgot to take the key with him. So he only had his own key. And when we came back, it's like, oh, he's not here. And then we look out the window and we see that he was lying in the car sleeping, but he turned on the car because it was cold. Turned on the heating. And one of us like went out there, was like, come in. It's like, why did you turn on the car? It's like, it's cold. Good stuff. Funny stuff.
Yeah, they do a really good job of capturing that energy. Like, there's this thing they keep saying over and over again, that like, oh, we're real Berlin guys. You know, we're not like, people that have moved to the city or tourists or whatever. We're real Berlin. Oh, we'll show you like the real Berlin.
By the way, which is like a thing every person says who lived in Berlin for like a week or something.
Yeah. They do a really good job of capturing like these characters. I find them all very believable. I think that's one of the best parts of the movie, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And then, when things start going wrong, you actually really care about the people, and you don't want terrible things to happen to them.
Yeah. You really don't.
I really liked the gang leader guy, the main criminal guy.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. Let me get him on screen here.
There he is. Older guy with sort of bleached blonde hair.
Yeah. I was trying to do something where he's actually like in the middle, so it doesn't look shit.
One of the things that I thought was really interesting about that whole sequence is like, here's what you're gonna do, here's the layout, and we're gonna run through it. Now, like, you like go put the ski masks on, get in the car, and then show me how you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then they kind of have to run through it awkwardly, like rehearse it.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of like funny and uncomfortable because they don't like know like who's gonna cue them to get out of the car. There's a little bit of comedy in what's otherwise kind of a tense scene.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Kind of awkward because they started, but then the lock goes off. The lock,
he gets locked in.
It's like, open the door. That's like later on, this like the thing with the door is not gonna happen again. He's like, yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it. Just make sure you don't fuck it up.
Yeah, they're trying to like impress him.
Yeah,
and be tough. Also, like, hey, just so you know, like, I won't let that happen.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Where it goes like, get on the ground, just pretend like there's people there. It's like, shut the fuck up, and there's like obviously no one there.
Someone points out in chat that something that's hard to do with a movie like this is like lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this movie does it pretty darn well, considering that I don't think there's any. Actually, no. I think there's a couple spaces that they actually had to themselves. Like, I don't know if it was the hotel room or like the club. Some of these locations that they could control the lighting a bit more. But a lot of it is just them like running around the streets. There's no lights off camera. It's all just available light, as they call it. And I think they do a really good job of, there's some scenes where it's just kind of dark, but not like outrageously dark,
Yeah. Absolutely. No, for the most part, you can see everything pretty well, for sure. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. The characters are really, really well executed for sure. I'm just trying to think
Speaking of the characters, I think there's a couple moments later on that like really kind of really do a lot to characterize these people, like through action and stuff like that. Like I really like when they go into the apartment and like Sana like forces his way into that guy's apartment and then is mad at him for letting him in because he has a small child there.
Yeah, yeah.
And like that's a really interesting sort of
Very
conflict.
telling.
Yeah, he's like let us into your apartment, and then he's like, why'd you let me in? There's a kid in here.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I just got a perfect frame for his current mindset.
exactly, yeah. Oh, it's good. I feel
We
like
get it.
really...
You guys have a social life. No need to rub it in.
I mean, maybe we're just making all this up. You wouldn't know. Maybe we have no life at all.
Exactly.
Do you ever think about that?
Yeah. Get wrecked.
Yeah, I think little details like that are very very telling of character. Like that she when he's like, no ambulance, just take the money and leave, and she's like, I'm not just gonna leave you here. Like little moments like that you really get.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of before at the time, where is it? You'll see. No, you failed me. I'm just trying to find right after they get out of the right after the gang boss, when they're in this little alleyway because Blinker is just absolutely panicking. I think that panic attack in itself is already pretty well acted, but there's so many things here that that are said without anyone saying anything.
Yes.
Like all the way through when they just drive off. Zana is going like, Boxer, hello? You gonna say anything? And Boxer's just silent. He's like shell shocked basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he just tries to say something, and then at some point Blinker goes like, oh god, my heart, stop the car, fuck. While all of this is happening, Victoria's just concentrating on the street, just, I guess, trying to process everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And then they get out of the car, and you see Zana just staring a hole into Boxer.
Yeah.
It's like, you're gonna tell me, like, you're gonna say anything? Like, what is this bullshit?
Yeah, are you going to show us that you understand how horrible the situation you're getting us into is? Like,
yeah,
you're going to address that at all, or you're just going to stand there?
And then we have...
Yeah, he's really staring him down. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and Boxer's like, I'm doing it alone. I'm doing it alone.
Yeah, if you guys won't do it, I'll do it by myself kind of thing.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to get his friends in trouble, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Because we already learned they're all very good friends.
Yeah.
And then Victoria's like, no, I'm going to drive you. I'm going to help you.
She's not going to let him do it by himself because that would be a disaster.
Well, there probably is also this realization, it's like, if she doesn't help, and they're probably going to get fucked over one way or another. Because if he's doing it alone, it's just not going to work out anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, she wants to help him. And then obviously Zana helps out as well. Yeah, it's just lots of things. It's like all said with like a couple of words or a sentence or two, and we get to know a lot of their characters.
There's a lot of good subtext, like like we just talked about it, but like when Boxer says like, I'm doing it alone, like surface level read is like, well, if you guys are too big of pussies to do it, I'll do it by myself. But then also underneath that, it's like, I'll do it alone, so you guys, so you guys don't have to get dragged into it.
Yeah.
There's kind of both things at once. One's the more like tough guy exterior, and one's the more sentimental friend underneath. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when everyone is settled down, Blinker is just kind of getting himself back together. It's like, no, I'm fine. I'm gonna help you. And then they all have like a hug, basically, just embracing each other for a little bit before they get back in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a pretty big fan of this whole segment all the way through, starting from the boss man up until to the actual robbery. Like it's all very. You can feel the tension. It's
Oh yeah.
insane.
It's very tense, and I think that's one of the things that I really like a good stressful movie like this.
Hmm.
Like one of my favorite movies of recent years was Uncut Gems. Have you seen that one?
I haven't actually. It's
It's
actually
good.
good that you mentioned that. I meant to watch that, but then things got in the way, and I actually forgot about that movie up until now.
You should watch it. It's good. Like this, it's very stressful. I mean, Uncut
Ah,
Gems isn't shot in one take or anything, but I like God. It's just full. Like everything's very stressful all the time.
yeah, yeah.
Like once this movie really gets going, like things are just really stressful for a long time. You know, it's. I mean, like the bank robbery itself. According to the director, the bank robbery was like the first idea.
Okay.
The genesis of the whole thing. Like they wanted to film a bank robbery in sort of a long extended take like that. And so they knew the bank robbery was kind of central to the story, right? And the scene itself, I like the choice to stay in the car the whole time.
Yeah, me too.
From her
Uh,
perspective, we see them run, we see them like, bum rush the person opening the bank in the morning, and then we just hang out in the car and like we're with her. We don't know how long it's going to take. We're just sitting there.
hmm.
We're just sitting there. And then eventually the car dies, and it's like not only are we waiting for them to get out, but like now the car doesn't work.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff. Oh, it's so good. It's so like
Right before that, the scene when they're just all in the car, like Zonda just kind of looking out the window, and you can tell he's like not happy with the situation.
oh yeah.
Obviously, not happy that they have to rob a bank, being involved
Hmm.
with these serious criminals, but also he got this random girl in here now that helps them
Yeah.
that he actually just wanted to flirt with and maybe have some fun.
Yeah.
Is now involved. It's like damn. And right
And
after
it's
that,
really
he just kind
go
of
ahead.
gets itself together and he rallies all of them. It's like, come on, we can do this. Like
Yeah, yeah.
just kind of riles them up.
I really like his character, and
Yeah,
to your point, one of the things I like about the scene where he has to ask her if she will do it is that like he says over and over and over again, he's like, you don't have to
you
do
don't
this,
have to do
but
this. Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't. And just to be clear, you don't have to do this. Like he's very desperate to make sure, like, hey, I'm not trying to force you to do anything, but
exactly.
like it would really help us out. And then when things start to escalate, he feels like really, really bad about roping her
Yes.
in, and he probably wishes she would just leave, but like she's in it now too. And also I don't know, she has this sort of connection with him. Like she's a very I don't know what the word is, maybe compassionate, but like she really cares about them and doesn't want them to get fucked over, so she'll
Yeah.
help even if it puts herself at risk because she doesn't want them to get screwed over, you know. And so she's like, no, I'll do it, I'll do it. And so he feels bad, but also like he can't tell her not to, which is
Yeah,
an interesting dynamic. Yeah,
for sure.
it's good. Yeah, I like his character a lot. I feel like he of the group of little petty criminals that they are, I think he like he has the most heart. you know
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's lots of tiny character things, which alone I would recommend watching that movie just to see how they react and behave. It's
hmm
all feels very genuine, as I said
yeah,
before.
I think that's what elevates it beyond the gimmick of how it's shot. Because it would be easy for something like this to just like fall back on the fact that it's like very impressive on a technical level. But I think it's like, even if it wasn't shot like that, it would still be pretty good. Just from a story perspective, I do like it, and the characters really help
Hmm.
elevate it into something that's not just style over substance.
Yeah, so I think it might be worth pointing out. The whole story takes place in like the early morning hours,
Hmm.
so that's where they had to film it. So they probably had
Yeah.
like a whole day of preparation already in them, and then they had to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
this,
Uh-huh.
and it just adds to the movie in general because you can see that it goes from dark, like the dark of night, to the morning hours
Mhm.
of daylight. It gives you like a really good sense of okay, we're like actually going from nighttime, like early morning time, to daylight time.
Yeah.
You can see it changing in the background and when we
Yeah.
conclude the movie, when she walks away, it's like bright outside because it's
Yeah.
probably like 7:30 a.m. or something.
Yeah. It adds something that you don't get from most movies.
Hmm.
And I mean, I guess what's important is, as far as the impact on the story itself, is the fact that, there are movies that are sort of made to look like it's one long take that aren't in real time.
Hmm.
Like Birdman, I think Birdman spans like a few weeks, I think, in terms of story time. But this is like, it's all real time, essentially. Like they're not, so like you do see it grounds you in the moment the way a lot of stories don't, because you
Hmm.
can't just cut ahead to skip this part of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
And
just
I
stay with them.
and it's exhausting, and you can tell they're exhausted, and you can tell the whole night itself would be exhausting.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
get all of that. You feel that in a way that you might not if it were shot like a normal movie.
for sure. I'm trying to think of any specific character things, but I think we got the best ones. We already got out of the way. A lot of the things are like in between that you just have to see for yourself. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like what it says about them, that they, like, when they successfully pull it off, they like get really happy and try to go back to the club.
Right, right, yeah,
Yeah, and they just fucking go nuts. And that's when you finally get some, like they kiss and whatever. You finally get a little bit of that sort of romantic tension finally
yeah,
builds something, and they're having fun, and she's like playing with him, and I don't know, like stuff like that, and like they're fucking going nuts and taking their clothes off and running around and
yeah,
acting like they own the place and stuff like that.
yeah.
Which
Absolutely, it's fun
it,
stuff.
it's an interesting thought that they're like, okay, well, what should we do now, right? And it's like, let's go to the club that we couldn't get into earlier. It's like
Yeah,
there's something kind of dumb and like almost tragic about it, that's their first thought, like that's what they choose
yeah,
to do.
because that gangster boss told them earlier, "Oh, when you're done, just go home and wait. I'm gonna call you."
Hmm.
And they're like, "Let's go to the club." It's like, oh, that's
Yes,
not a good idea.
let's celebrate. Well, now, because they couldn't get into the club earlier because they didn't have money, I think was the idea.
Uh huh.
So like now that they have all the money in the world, let's go to the club, let's live it up.
Yeah.
And after that, things go south pretty quickly, and so there's not a lot of
Yeah.
character scenes. It's just like, oh fuck, they're chasing us. Oh shit, he's dead. Oh
He's dead.
shit,
He's dead.
running around. Oh shit, we got it. There's lots of yelling and
Hmm.
screaming and running around and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's really interesting that there's different moments in the story in the crime plot where different characters kind of take charge when everyone else is unsure of what to do. Because there's parts where Zana takes charge and he's like, come on guys, we can do it. And there's when they get into the apartment, Zana's like really freaking out about the fact that there's a baby here. And all of a sudden Victoria is like taking charge, like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the baby. I don't want to take your baby, but I'm gonna take your baby. That's a bold move on her part.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was like actually shocked. Like, okay, hear me out. I'm gonna need your baby. I was like, whoa, okay.
Nothing's gonna happen to your baby. And the mom is just wailing and screaming, and it's like, oh god, what the fuck are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the outfits that they change into. They're very, I don't know how to describe them.
Vape Nation.
Yeah.
Like the base cap she has just says hashtag haze on it, and it's like weed on it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what the word for that style is.
I have
it's
no
very
idea.
funny to me.
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the gist of the movie. We find out that Zana was shot, and the scene where she's reacting to his death is really good. There's like an emotional payoff for the whole story.
Yeah.
And like you can feel how exhausting the whole thing has been for her.
Yeah, like this is like where all of it just kind of explodes out of her, basically emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's rough. It's rough to watch. Like we go through the whole scene where we watch Zonna die, as like that she just slowly goes like, oh. It's like this deep sobbing she does. Like she doesn't go immediately go like, nah. It's like this, and then like the snot
like
and everything.
Up, like you said, yeah.
It's like, Jesus.
Very good. It's very good. It feels very raw. And I think the fact that she's exhausted plays a big role in it. And I think it helps a lot. And you get a performance in this scene that I don't know if any other movie can really offer in the same way. Not that there aren't scenes where people cry better, but it's just like, man, like you don't, it's just, it feels like such an interesting, what would you say, like a dramatic payoff to the whole movie that like it leads to this scene where she just lets it out and you're like, oh, you poor girl, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You just wanted to have fun, and now look what happened. The people you just met are dead, all of them, except Foos, but he's probably not going to remember you very well.
So this is something actually I wanted to talk to you about, because I don't know, I what I've noticed as a pattern is that a lot of German stories end in tragedy. I don't know what that is exactly, but a lot of them, like a lot of the movies we watched in the German film class I told you about, it's like, oh, character gets involved with someone or something they shouldn't have, and then they end up dead at the end. And it's like, well, that'll teach you. That's the vibe of a lot of German stories that I've noticed. And I just think that's interesting culturally, because I think comparatively American stories tend to be a lot more optimistic, maybe from certain perspectives, maybe a bit naive even, but like there's a lot more good guys winning in the end in American stories than there are in German stories, I've noticed.
I don't know. We're miserable people. I don't know.
It's definitely not a miserable movie.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the German movies, I don't know, they feel, you know, like the way like a lot of old, I don't know, like Shakespearean tragedies, like, you know, they're just going to end badly. I don't know. Did you watch The Northman by any chance?
I did. I liked it.
I liked it too. And
I didn't think it was like super duper great, but we get so little movies like that have some interesting things going on, and it was very sad when I heard that did very badly in the box office.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it either, but I did like it. And one of the things is that, you know, there's the part, mild spoilers for The Northman. The whole thing's about revenge, right? And there's that moment where he's riding away on the boat with Anya Taylor-Joy, and it's like the promise of like a normal, happy life, or you could turn back and get revenge. You know? And it's just like, you know, he's going to go back and get revenge. It's that kind of story.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, you know, from pretty much the beginning of the movie that he's going to get revenge and die trying. You know, it's not much of a spoiler, because it's just like, that's the kind of story this is.
Yeah.
You know, of course it's a tragedy. That's just how the story goes. And I feel like a lot of German movies are like that, where it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's going to end in tragedy, because of course it is. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah. I was thinking, I'm just trying to remember what German movie I watched last. I think it was actually one with Christoph Waltz.
Oh, okay. He's good. I like him a lot.
He's amazing. He's great. What was it? Like something like the God of Slaughter or something.
That's quite a title. Sounds like a metal album.
Yeah, but it's not metal at all. It was, I actually need to rewatch that movie. I think that one was actually pretty interesting. So it's there. I think the premise was, if I remember correctly, they basically, it's just called Carnage in English. That's actually very fitting. Let's see. 2011 black comedy film directed by blah blah Roman Polanski. Yeah, blah blah.
Was it directed by Roman Polanski?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh, interesting. Carnage.
I need to. Okay, I wouldn't mind watching that in English. Actually, that's probably. Yeah, I think the Yeah, when two grade school boys, that's just the plot from Wikipedia, real quick. When two grade school boys get into a fight in the park that results in one boy hitting the other. Why is it written so weirdly? Hitting the other in the face with a stick, their parents meet in a Brooklyn apartment to discuss the matter. Oh, that's not. I thought that was just placed in Germany when I watched it. Anyway, Zachary's parents.
It's got a number of American actors in it. As Jodie Foster and Kate Winslet. Is that the movie? John C. Reilly.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it. I legit thought that was a German movie. Well, I guess never mind then. But yeah, I think they're basically just hanging out in the apartment, and they just kind of talk to each other, and it just all starts out pretty chill, and then just gets chaotic as fuck.
Yeah.
The meeting is initially intended to be short, but due to various circumstances, the conversation continues to draw out. In fact, Alan and Nancy begin to leave the apartment on 2 occasions, but are drawn back into further discussion. At first, the couples are friendly to each other, but their respective comments start to hurt feelings, making everyone argue with one another. Apart from fighting amongst themselves, the couples blame each other about who is responsible for the fight between their sons.
Interesting.
And then it just started
kind of like a low stakes character drama, funny, sort of awkward kind of movie. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and I think at the end, the two boys just play again the next day in school.
That sounds about right.
After they all just shit on each other. I remember enjoying it at the time. I wonder how it holds up.
Yeah, Roman Polanski. He's an interesting figure, to say the least.
Okay.
Do you know anything about him?
If you ask me anything about any director, I'm at a loss. I'm very bad with these things, and I rarely take
So the short version for Roman Polanski is that some of the big movies he directed early in his career were Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby, and things like that. Really, really good movies. Very, very talented director. And then he was, I would say, credibly accused of statutory rape.
Oh, that's not good.
Fled America, and I think he lives in France now, and he still makes movies in Europe. But he's still wanted in America, so he hasn't come back. And so there's a very divisive figure, because very talented director, makes very, very good movies, but obviously a lot of people, don't like him for obvious reasons.
Legal history, sexual abuse case. Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, here's another. He has probably the wildest life story of anyone I've ever heard of, because he was a young kid in Poland when the Nazis took over. So then he fled, and then he ends up in America eventually. He rises to relative prominence as a director, makes a couple really, really good, like, classic movies. And then he marries Sharon Tate, and then his wife and unborn baby are murdered by the Manson family.
Jesus.
And then after that, he makes a couple more movies. Then he gets accused of statutory rape and flees the country. And now he lives in France. It's just fucking crazy.
That sounds pretty nuts.
It's a wild story, to say the least.
Then the American film industry gave him an award after he fled. Really?
Yeah. I don't know if it was the Oscars or something. He's won a couple awards since. A lot of people not happy about it. He's
bad.
But I have no problem at all watching the movies he made before that incident, because they're really, really good. If you haven't seen Chinatown or Rosemary's Baby, they're both excellent movies.
Okay.
Highly recommend them.
I'll keep those in mind.
Anyway.
Yeah.
He's a crazy guy.
Yeah, I just learned that movie I thought was a German movie never was a German movie. That's good to know.
You might be forgiven for thinking the movie we were just talking about today might actually not be a German movie.
Yeah, because it has much more English in it than German.
Oh, fun fact about that is that they submitted it to the Oscars, the Academy in America, for best. I forget what the category changes names every now and then.
It's just best foreign film or something.
Best foreign film, or best international film, or best foreign language film. I don't actually remember what it was at the time, but let
me guess. It got rejected because it had too much English in there.
Correct. Which is really dumb.
That is so stupid.
That is really unfortunate because, as far as I know, the film that won or the films that were nominated for 2015 weren't like especially amazing or anything. It's a shame that like, nope, too
Yeah.
much English in this movie, and it's like, oh come on, it's not an American movie by any means. Like, come on.
I'm curious now. I'm gonna look at German movie releases. No, not just. I don't want upcoming releases in German movies. God damn it. List of German films on 2020. No, let me. I just want to see if there's a single one I can even recall from the name. Man, that's actually not a lot of movies. 1, 2,
They don't
3,
make
4.
They don't make a ton.
There's 5 in 2022.
Oh wow, that's not a lot at all.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
we're
Quiet.
pumping them out over here.
All Quiet on the Western Front. Oh, that's the remake from the old movie, I think.
Oh, is that the new Netflix one?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was. I mean, I assumed it was in German, but I didn't know it was a German production.
Yeah, apparently it is. Director is
That's cool.
Edward Berger.
Oh, nice.
German director and screenwriter. Well, there you go. I'm actually only aware of this one because I watched Wendigoon's video on that old movie. Which was...
I don't know. I haven't heard of anything about this, whether it's good or not. It seems to be well reviewed so far.
Yeah, I mean, it came out 28th of October, so it's basically just came out. So
Yeah.
what else do we have here? Corsage? I guess that's Corsage. Never heard of it. That one doesn't even... that one has just a name, but not even the Wikipedia entry. Rheingold. 2022 German biographical gangster drama film written and directed by Fatih Akin and starring Emilius. I don't know who these people are.
Fatih Akin. He's I think I've seen a couple movies by him. He did a movie called Head On, I think. Is that the guy I'm thinking of?
Let's see. I'll click my way through Wikipedia.
Yeah. He's a Turkish-German director.
Let's see.
He makes
Rheingold,
pretty fucked up movies.
Golden Glove, In the Fade, Goodbye Berlin, The Cut, Polluting Paradise. What's the one you said?
Oh, he might be Armenian. Head On is the name of it.
Head On. Oh yeah, 2004.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that one. I don't know. I just think there's something kind of funny about the fact that I've seen more German movies than you.
Been a while since I've been in Germany, but I feel like German TV was generally done to a higher standard. No. So I guess that's where most of the talent goes. Dude, the only German television is the one I have to pay for every quarter of the year that I don't watch, which has all this shit that I don't want to watch.
Oh, it's like a national...
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
sucks.
I guess there's all these soap TV thingies on the other channels.
That sucks. It's like, I guess that's kind of like the BBC. And,
yeah, pretty much. It's like these shows that have been going on for since before I was born, basically. There's like some of those that are still going. And I'm just wondering, wow, people are still watching those, huh? That's crazy.
Metal just pretends to be German. That's true. We don't actually know if he really is.
Ja, Deutsch, maybe. Ja. Brötchen, ja. That's what I do. I'm from the UK, not the US. That's fine. That's fine. I accept that. Yeah. Well, there you go. There's a little ending tangent, I guess, because I mean, I don't have anything else note-wise for that movie.
Would you recommend it?
I think you should at least watch it once. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it again. I actually might show Mutually that movie when I'm going over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what he thinks. Could be fun.
Yeah, I've shown it to a couple people. Is the main reason I've seen it a couple times. Mostly to show other people. Like, it's a movie worth experiencing for sure. It's very...
Yeah, I'm curious about what he thinks. Because he doesn't know any German, so
yeah.
I wonder how that beginning segment is gonna work for him. That's a really interesting part to me, because for me it was just like this night out with the boys. They just watched So yeah, we're gonna interesting because when I'm over in December, we're just gonna watch a bunch of movies anyway. So I might gonna go ahead and show him this one.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. I'd recommend people check it out.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say
it's worth the experience for sure. I would
Oh, for
seek it
sure.
out and have a look. See, there's lots of really good character stuff going on in here, and
Lots of tense sequences.
lots
if
of
you're into
tense
that sort of thing.
sequences.
If
Absolutely.
you want to be stressed out, it's a good movie.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm happy I actually moved this. I could have probably pushed through while I had to coof, but I think I would have missed a lot of things. So I had a hard time concentrating on anything anyway. I was out.
Oof.
Yeah, for a couple of days I was just like, yeah, I'm going to sleep now. Yeah, I even canceled my Halloween stream. That was kind of annoying. But I got to watch Mutually play Soma again. That was fun.
Yeah, and people got to watch our stream on Halloween instead.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. It all worked out, you see.
Yay. Yeah. I need to watch Uncut Gems. And maybe
It's good.
maybe I'll do
like
maybe I'll do a forge on that one, and then I'll call you again, and we do a forge on that
I
one.
really like Uncut Gems. I highly recommend it.
I heard good things about it. So I'm curious. I think there was a bunch of memes that came out of that. Wasn't that the one where it was like, "Holy shit, I'm gonna come" or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some good memes from that movie. It's memeable.
Yeah, that's great. That's good stuff. Yeah, go out of way to watch this. I'm gonna have to promote this stream after everyone is done with Ragnarok to come back and watch this one, because I think we did this random movie that nobody knows, probably at the worst time ever, where everyone is looking at this new shiny thing.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a good time to talk about a movie that came out 7 years ago.
I mean,
so.
normally I have more people around in general in these forges, but if someone is playing the
Gotcha.
new shiny thing, I get it. I would probably watch something else too.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, man.
Hey, absolutely, it's been a blast. Hey, you got anything going on you want to tell the peeps about?
I'm
Anything
slowly
planned?
working on the next episode review of Devs,
Oh.
which is very, very, very bad sci-fi show that I'm very, very slowly reviewing.
I think I heard Jay talk about that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think Jay, Mahler, and Rags have all seen it. It's terrible.
Yeah, it was probably
you can
maybe it was just a combination of all of them where I heard about it.
Oh, it's very, very bad.
Oh.
I wouldn't recommend watching it, but I would recommend watching my videos on it.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Go for it. The link is in the description, as always. Go
Hey.
fleam the schleems, as you do.
Outside of that, a number of things in the crock pot cooking, but
Nice.
we won't mention any of them yet. Well,
Uh-oh.
so people can be surprised.
Yay. Surprises
New
are
things
good,
come out.
mostly.
Yeah, everyone likes a good surprise.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are some bad surprises, I suppose. But
Yeah.
these are going to be good ones, I promise.
Yay, good surprises. I love those. I mean, as for me, I'm just going to be playing more Ragnarok for now. Next week, I'll have Meme on. We're going to do more Star Trek stuff. I think he wanted to go
boy.
through some original series Klingon episodes, I think was his plan. He's going to send me a list of episodes I need to watch, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, streams. I mean, I'm only doing the streams here now. I ditched Twitch. I actually need to make a tweet about that. Because
You're off Twitch for good?
yeah, I just did like a test month in October. Because I was thinking about just making this like my main channel, like my main go-to where everything happens, and it's been working out pretty well. I'm having fun. I miss the Twitch functions of chat because that's still far superior. But yeah, in the long run, I think that it's the better choice for growth and everything. I feel it has already been paying off.
That's great.
Yeah. But I I got a Twitch payment this today, and I was like, oh shit, I feel bad now. I should probably tell people to get rid of those subscriptions. I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. I don't know if I need to check it. I don't know. There might be a way to just, I don't know, send messages to all subscribers and basically tell them. I don't know. I haven't found anything like that, but I think you can do that. But
I can't help you at all. I know nothing about Twitch.
Yeah, it's fine. I was just more thinking out loud what I can do about that.
No, I know you were relying on me for my expertise.
Oh, okay. Well,
Sorry to
then
disappoint
you better get on it. I demand the information
All right,
tomorrow.
I'll do some research while you play God of War, and then I'll let you know what I find.
Awesome. No, good stuff. Hey, this was fun. I'll let you know if we have something else to forge. But I think Uncut Gems might actually be a good idea.
Yeah. Let
Because
me know when
I
you see it.
completely forgot about that movie. And I meant to watch Massive Talent, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I actually wanted to watch. I wanted to watch that one when it comes out and do a Forge with Fringy. But it turned out the release here was way later, like 2 months later.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. Fringy was like, "I watched it. It was pretty neat. Go watch it." It's like, okay, I'm gonna check, and then I saw, oh, it releases in cinemas in like 2 months or something. So I think that happened.
It's really weird. That happens sometimes. Like,
I was actually
remember
surprised because I saw a bunch of I saw trailers before. And I was like, oh, that might be fun, and then just got a very late release in Germany. It was pretty interesting.
that happens sometimes. I think Dune came out in the U.S. way later than it came out everywhere else. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, I think Australia got the latest release because I think I remember Fringy saying that he watched it like a couple of weeks later than we did. Dune was actually the first Forge I did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because that I watched that.
Do you like Dune?
I think it was pretty neat. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Me too.
I think my overall thoughts were I think it was pretty great, but the pacing wasn't that great personally for myself. But that's just obviously a subjective me thing that I had. But I like the universe they built. I'm looking forward to the next one. I really do.
Me too. I feel like a lot of the criticisms I would have of Dune kind of depend on what happens next.
Yeah,
because it's not a complete story, so it's a little, the pacing is a little strange, but I kind of need to know where it goes next to know if I think it's bad or not. The pacing, that is, But I do like it so far. I was really excited for it, and can't wait for, what is it? I think next year around this time is when it comes out.
I think so. Yeah. The first one was definitely a big old setup, and now I want to see the next one. Absolutely. Right. Well, there you go. This was fun. I'll be back next week with another Forge, and I'll probably take a little break, and then I actually have time to get my fix of God of War today, which I didn't expect to happen. So that's nice.
Well, I had about twice as much to say, and I cut it short because
you didn't need to. You could have just said it.
I'm just joking.
Oh, okay. Don't make me feel bad like that. God damn it.
No, this is great.
Okay, awesome. I'll see everyone later. Goodbye.
Indeed.